In the heart of the beautiful autumn forest, where the trees turned yellow and the air started to feel cool, Teddy the bear walked among the fallen leaves. He listened to the birds chirping in the forest, while the leaves crinkled under his big fuzzy paws. Everyone loved Teddy because he was the kindest bear in the forest, always protecting his little friends. But now Teddy felt a little bit sad. He was thinking about the long winter nap he was about to take. He knew he would miss his friends, especially Binky the bunny, who always came up with some funny ideas. Binky also felt sad watching how his bear friend was falling asleep. He wanted to cheer him up. That's how a warm idea bloomed in Binky's heart. He could prepare a honey jar gift for Teddy. Binky rushed to find his friend Zippy the squirrel, who lived nearby in a cozy tree hole. He was excited to share his great idea with Zippy, who also cared about Teddy. She listened to him carefully. As she was known for her talent in collecting nuts and berries, Zippy agreed to help Binky without any hesitation. She knew how much Teddy liked honey. Together, Binky and Zippy headed to see the busy bees. As they came closer and closer, Binky felt a bit nervous looking at the buzzing beehive. However, Zippy knew very well what to do, as she had helped Teddy with honey a few times before. With her small paws, she gently collected honey from the bees without disturbing them. Binky was so happy and thanked Zippy many times while holding a jar of golden honey. With this precious gift, Binky hurried back to Teddy's cave, where the bear was ready for his winter sleep. Carefully, Binky placed the honey jar near Teddy, hoping it would cheer him up. He knew that this sweet surprise would bring warmth to Teddy's heart in the spring when he woke up. Once upon a time, in a faraway land lived a little hedgehog named Hugo. Hugo was a curious and brave hedgehog, and he loved to explore the forest. But what he loved most were the stories his grandma used to tell him when he was just a tiny baby hedgehog. His grandma told him about a magnificent apple tree hidden deep within the forest. It was said that the tree had the most delicious and sweetest apples in all the lands they knew and heard of. But a long time ago, a big fire came to the forest, and Hugo's great-great-grandparents had to move far away. They left their home, and nobody could find that special tree anymore, as the path was forgotten. Some animals said it was just a legend, a story to tell baby hedgehogs at bedtime. But our Hugo was different. He was an adventurous hedgehog, and he wanted to find that apple tree, the one his grandma used to talk about. He believed in the magic of the forest, and he thought that maybe, just maybe, he could meet some of his lost relatives under that tree. One sunny morning, Hugo gathered his family around him. He told them about his dream to find that magnificent apple tree. They were worried for him, as the forest can sometimes be a dangerous place. But they knew how important this was to Hugo. With tears in their eyes, they hugged him tightly and said, "Hugo, my dear, we love you very much. Go and follow your heart. We will be here waiting for you." With this, Hugo started his exciting journey. One day, as Hugo was walking through the forest, he came across a bunch of sharp and pointy bushes. They looked really scary, but he didn't see the way to go around them. That's why he curled into a tight little ball and slowly, very slowly, rolled through the bushes. It wasn't easy, but he kept going because he believed that it was the correct way to the apple tree. As Hugo went deeper and deeper into the forest, it was getting darker and darker. He heard the sound of water, and the river appeared in front of him. Unfortunately, Hugo didn't know how to swim, but as we know, he was a very smart and adventurous hedgehog. He found some strong thick sticks and made a tiny raft to sail across the river. He had to be very careful not to fall off. Happily, he made it to the other side safely. Hugo continued on his journey, but he wasn't sure which way to go anymore. That's when he met a friendly bunny named Binky. Binky was growing a lovely carrot garden and was happy to help Hugo. He pointed Hugo in the right direction, saying, "Follow the path to a big open field with lots of soft green grass, and after that you will find a rock shaped like a sleeping bear among the trees. Turn left and follow the butterflies. They will lead you to your apple tree." Hugo followed Binky's instructions and soon found himself in a magical field with colorful butterflies fluttering around. They led him further into the forest until suddenly, there it was, the magnificent apple tree. The tree was tall and proud, covered in the juiciest, sweetest apples Hugo had ever seen. He picked one, took a big bite, and it was even more delicious than he had imagined. He felt so happy that he wanted to share the wonderful news with the friendly birds around, so they could help him to carry his message back to his family and let them know that he was safe and sound. The tree was as beautiful as his grandma told them. Hugo decided to stay and explore this new part of the forest he discovered. He met new friends and also found his cousin who lived near the magical apple tree. Everyone was amazed by his story and adventures he went through to reach the apple tree. Hugo taught them that sometimes legends could be real, and the most exciting adventures could help us find special treasures hidden in our world and in our own hearts. In the heart of the big mysterious forest, a group of curious raccoons gathered under the moonlight. Their eyes shined with both excitement and fear as they whispered tales of a spooky house standing near the ocean. According to them, scary monsters lived in that house, catching anyone brave enough to visit the place. News of the spooky house spread quickly in the forest. The animals were telling each other the story, and everyone felt scared to go to that place. That's how one day the rumor about the spooky house reached our brave bunny called Binky. He heard the raccoon's fearful story and wanted to know if it was true what others were saying. The raccoons confirmed that they saw monsters with fire in their eyes and that there were no animals brave enough to go there. That's how Binky decided to prove that he was the one who could do it. Binky told everyone that he would prove there were no monsters in that house. Despite his brave words, Binky was in fact quite terrified. That's why he ran to his friends to ask if they could join the adventure. Hugo the hedgehog and Daisy the deer were his best friends. They listened to Binky carefully and felt curious about the spooky house as well. That's how they started their exciting adventure. As they walked through the forest, it started to get darker and darker, and the forest felt mysterious. The shadows seemed to dance among the trees, and strange, ghostly noises filled the air. Binky, Daisy, and Hugo started to get scared. Suddenly, they saw a terrifying picture through the trees. Monsters with fire in their eyes, and the spooky house under the moonlight. Our three friends turned away and ran as quickly as their legs could carry them. Their hearts were beating fast because they were scared. On the way, they found a small cave where they decided to hide. The next morning was beautiful and calm. The sun shone brightly, and there were no signs of any scary monsters that Binky, Daisy, and Hugo saw at night. They felt relieved and happy to see the peaceful forest in the morning light. Suddenly, a wise old owl spoke to them. She said softly that they should not be scared, that what they saw was not the spooky house, but Halloween decoration. They could return there now during the daytime and see that there were no monsters at all. Binky, Daisy, and Hugo believed the wise owl and decided to return to the house. What had scared them so much at night now looked friendly and festive. They saw only smiling pumpkins placed around the house. Our friends realized that their imagination had tricked them. But now they were certain that there were no monsters in that house, just a friendly girl named Lily. Once upon a time, in a cozy little tree hole nested between tall oaks, wild bushes, and colorful flowers, lived a squirrel named Zippy. Zippy was known for her big bushy tail. She was also good in collecting nuts and berries for the long winter ahead. When the warm days of summer turned into the cooler days of autumn, Zippy knew it was time to start gathering food for the cold winter months. With her small paws and sharp claws, she worked really hard to gather acorns, hazelnut, and tasty berries. She went up and down the trees, filling her cheeks until they puffed out like fluffy clouds. One cloudy evening, raindrops began to fall from the sky. Zippy knew she had to hurry to collect as much food as she could before the rain got stronger. She walked really fast, filling her little home with her precious harvest. But then a big boom of thunder came, and a strong wind blew away all the food she had collected, and the river took all her nuts and berries away. Zippy felt so sad and broken. She sat near her empty little tree hole, and tears were in her eyes. "Oh, how will I ever get enough food for winter now?" she thought, feeling lonely. Just then, a friendly bunny named Binky hopped over. He was worried about his squirrel friend. "Zippy, why do you look so sad?" he asked. Zippy turned to Binky and told him what happened. "I worked so hard to collect all that food, but then the rain took it away. Now I don't know how I will make it through the winter." Binky answered with kindness, "Don't worry, Zippy. You're not alone. We are all here for you." From the tall trees, a group of birds joined in, chirping to show how they cared about Zippy. A smart fox Finn also came to help. "Cheer up, Zippy. We will help you gather more food before winter arrives." Zippy wiped her tears and smiled, feeling warm inside. "Thank you, all of you. I'm so grateful for your friendship." The next day, Zippy, Binky, Finn, and the birds looked all around the forest, finding hidden stashes of nuts and berries. The birds, with their sharp eyes, spotted berries from far away. Binky's strong teeth cracked open tough nutshells, showing yummy nuts inside, and Finn searched through the bushes, picking the juiciest berries. As they walked together, they laughed, talked, and made new memories. The rain reminded Zippy that she is never alone when she has true friends. She looked at Binky, Finn, and the birds and said softly, "I thought I was all alone when I lost my food in the rain, but you all showed me that I have the best friends ever." Weeks passed, and soon the first snowflakes began to fall. Zippy's home was filled to the top with lots of food, more than she had ever imagined. She was not afraid of long, cold winter. When things are tough, being kind, working as a team, and having friends can make everything better. Winter arrived in the forest, and everywhere you looked, the trees wore soft white coats with snowflakes sparkling in the sun. You could hear birds singing their songs all over the forest as everything was ready for Christmas. Lily spent a lot of time in the forest. She came to visit her grandpa, who lived in the old house standing between the endless ocean and the forest. Lily loved Christmas, and that year she decided to build a lot of snowmen all over the forest so that all the animals could enjoy the festive spirit. One of the snowmen attracted the attention of Binky the bunny, who was wearing his white fluffy coat. He looked at the snowman's nose and couldn't believe his luck. He saw a carrot in winter, in the middle of the forest. He missed eating carrots so much. Binky ate the carrot and went around to check, hoping to find more. He felt like the luckiest bunny in the whole forest. That's how snowmen started to lose their noses. Lily felt sad when she noticed that her snowmen lost their noses. She looked around trying to solve the carrot mystery and discovered tiny bunny footprints leading away from the snowman. Following the trail, she went deeper into the forest, and eventually she noticed Binky hiding among the trees. Lily came closer to Binky. She didn't plan to scold him for eating all her carrots. Instead, she wanted to make a deal that Binky wouldn't eat snowmen's noses anymore. She smiled gently and gave him a carrot from her bag to seal the deal. Later on, Lily brought a special Christmas gift for her new fluffy forest friend Binky, the whole basket of carrots. From that day forward, the snowman's carrots remained untouched, bringing joy to everyone around. It was a reminder about the magic of sharing and that a small act of kindness can create warmth that lasts throughout the whole Christmas season. Spring came and everything was blooming in the forest. After a long winter sleep, Daddy the bear woke up feeling very happy as he couldn't wait to explore the forest again and see his best friend, Binky the bunny. The forest greeted Teddy with all its beauty after the long winter months. Birds chirped happily in the trees, and the branches were covered in fresh green leaves. The air was filled with the sweet scent of blooming flowers. It was a perfect day to visit Binky. As Teddy walked through the forest, he admired all the signs of spring. Streams of clear water bubbled cheerfully. Teddy felt happy to be awake and surrounded by such beauty. Teddy took a deep breath and smiled. He sat on a fallen tree and listened to the sounds of the forest for a while. When crossing the river, Teddy finally noticed his best friend. When Binky saw Teddy, his eyes lit up with joy. He couldn't stop talking, telling him all the stories that happened during winter. Teddy listened with delight as Binky shared his winter tales. When Binky stopped to take a breath, Teddy took the opportunity to thank him for the wonderful gift Binky had left for him in the autumn, the honey jar. It was the sweetest gift, and he had saved some honey to share with Binky. They walked back to the cave, and Binky couldn't believe that Teddy had saved honey to share with him. It was the bear's favorite treat, and he must have been so hungry after winter. But Teddy simply answered that he believed the honey tasted better when he shared it with his best friend. As they sat together enjoying the honey, Teddy and Binky felt grateful for their friendship. They knew that having amazing friends was one of the best things in life. Today was a special day. Today was Foxy's birthday. Sunny Foxy had a heart as bright as his fur, but instead of bouncing with excitement, Foxy felt a little bit sad. He loved his friends, but he was too shy to invite everyone and throw a party. That's why he decided to spend his day wandering off into the forest. Foxy walked by a shimmering pond where magnificent white swans glided by. He sat there for a while and listened to the sounds of the forest. In the afternoon, Foxy went to a tall hill and admired the endless green blanket of the forest, stretching in all directions. He could hear all kinds of birds singing their beautiful songs. When Foxy returned home, a sweet surprise was waiting for him. There they were, his friends. Cheerful Zippy the squirrel joyfully wished Foxy happy birthday. Foxy was so happy. Hugo the spiky hedgehog brought juicy strawberries which he hand-picked from his garden. Knowing well that strawberries were Foxy's absolute favorite, Hugo had spent the morning carefully selecting the sweetest berries he could find. A thoughtful gesture that warmed Foxy's heart even more than the summer sun. Zippy's gift was a pile of shiny acorns. Kind Daisy the deer had found the freshest blueberries which anyone could dream of. The wise owl collected sweet raspberries for Foxy. The pile of gifts kept growing and Foxy couldn't believe his eyes. But that wasn't all, as Binky the bunny hopped forward. Smiling, he presented a delicious berry cake which he found together with mischievous raccoon Riley. "Happy birthday, Foxy!" his friends cheered. Surrounded by his friends and delicious treats, Foxy's shyness melted away. He learned that even the shyest fox can have the best birthday, all thanks to the love and thoughtfulness of true friends. In the middle of the forest, where tall old trees stretched towards the sky, lived three best friends: Binky the bunny, Hugo the hedgehog, and Daisy the deer. They loved to go out and explore the forest every day, and then tell stories about their adventures. One sunny morning, Binky heard a special story from the birds. It was a big secret about a magical flower hidden at the end of the rainbow, a rainbow flower. It appeared for just a moment when the sun shines the brightest and raindrops were still falling from the sky. It was no ordinary flower, as it could make any wish come true. Only special ones could find that flower, and only the lucky ones could make a wish. Binky was very happy to learn this secret, as he was famous for being a lucky bunny. As he loved yummy treats, he came up with a big idea. He wanted to find the rainbow flower and wish for a house full of his favorite sunflower seed popsicles. They were icy and sweet, made with sunflower seeds, honey, and a touch of sunshine. Binky came to Hugo and Daisy and told them about his plan. Hugo laughed, saying, "You're always thinking about food, Binky." And then he added, "But those popsicles do sound tasty." Daisy, who was very kind and shy, smiled and said, "If it makes Binky happy, I will join the rainbow hunt. Let's go on an adventure to find that rainbow flower." During the next few weeks, our friends, Binky, Daisy, and Hugo, saw few rainbows, but they could never find where the rainbow ends. Binky started to feel a bit sad and worried about his famous lucky charm. Finally, they came up with a new plan. Binky, Daisy, and Hugo decided to go to the highest hill around and have a better view over the forest when the rain was about to start. One warm September day, the clouds got gray and it started to rain heavily. Our friends were already on the hill waiting for the rainbow to appear. After an hour, the sun came out shining bright and creating a beautiful rainbow in the sky. Binky, Daisy, and Hugo saw the rainbow and got very excited as they could finally see where the rainbow touched the ground. Now they needed to be very fast and reach that place before the rainbow disappeared. They ran down the hill, the forest smelled fresh after the rain, and they could hear water dripping from the leaves. On a normal day, they would be playing near the river, but today was no normal day. Today was a rainbow hunting adventure. Binky, Daisy, and Hugo ran as fast as they could. Unfortunately, Daisy was limping as a while ago a big scary wolf tried to catch her. She ran away, but since then one of her legs was injured and did not heal. Meanwhile, Binky was ahead of everyone, but a fast river stopped him. There was no bridge to cross it. Binky had a clever idea when he saw a weak tree standing near the riverbank. "It could be our bridge!" Daisy helped him to push the tree until it cracked and fell to another side, creating a bridge across the river. Binky, Daisy and Hugo felt that they were very close to the magical flower, as they could see the rainbow among the trees. They ran out to the field full of butterflies, and there it was, the rainbow flower. Its petals sparkled with all the colors of the rainbow, and it smelled sweeter than the freshest flowers in the spring. Binky was so excited. They needed to be very fast before the flower disappeared. That's why Binky picked it up in a rush. He was about to make his wish when he looked at Daisy. He remembered how she hurt her leg when a scary wolf chased her. Even though she was always cheerful, Binky knew she secretly wished her leg would get better so she could run and play freely like before. Binky turned to his friends and said, "I wish for Daisy to have a healthy leg again. That is more important than any candies. I can make sunflower seed popsicles anytime myself." With a burst of bright light, a rainbow flower granted Binky's wish. Daisy's leg felt better right away, and she jumped up and down with joy. They returned to their forest home, and it felt like the best day of their lives. Binky realized that the true friendship and caring for others were the best treasures of all. He might not have his sunflower seed popsicles, but he had something even better. Friends who would always be there for him, no matter what adventures they faced. Once upon a time, there were 3 little bunnies living in the forest: Ellie, Binky, and Archie. They were cousins and spent a lot of time together. Binky, the gray bunny, was extremely wise for his age and decided to teach Ellie and Archie how to grow a garden so that they would have food at any moment despite the weather. Days passed, and Ellie completely forgot about what Binky had told them. Instead of gardening, she decided to go and play with her friends. The forest was buzzing with exciting rumors and chatter. It was a pleasure to wander around the whole day. When Ellie felt hungry, she went for some sweet, juicy blueberries, which were easy to find. Afterwards, she fell asleep under the shade of a big tree. This was how she spent her days, playing and napping without a care in the world. Archie took Binky's advice more seriously. He planted some seeds, watered them, and took care of his garden at first. One day the sky turned dark, and a thunderstorm swept through the forest with heavy rain and loud thunder. While Archie hid from the rain under a large leaf, he thought that maybe he didn't need to work so hard after all. The rain would water his plants for him. This idea comforted him as he listened to the soothing sounds of the raindrops. When the sky cleared up and the sun lit up the forest again, Archie decided to enjoy his day playing hide and seek with Hugo the hedgehog. They had so much fun running around the forest and playing tricks on other animals. While wandering near the lake, Archie admired the beautiful swans gliding gracefully on the water. Their white feathers shimmered in the sunlight, making the scene look magical. At the end of the day, he had completely forgotten about his garden. Meanwhile, Pinky was working hard. It took him several days to find a perfect spot for his cabbage garden. Then Pinky carefully planted the seeds and took care of them every day. He watered them, pulled out weeds, and made sure they had plenty of sunlight. After a few weeks, his cabbage garden exceeded his expectations. It was huge and made Binky extremely proud of his tireless work. On the other hand, Archie realized that among all the seeds he had planted, only one small cabbage had grown. The rain hadn't replaced his hard work. Archie felt really sad. That's why he and Ellie went to Binky to ask for help. They admitted they should have taken their cousin's advice more seriously. Binky listened to them carefully and was glad that they had learned their lesson about the importance of consistent effort and responsibility. Binky was happy to share his cabbage harvest with his cousins. He even had time to grow carrots as a surprise for everyone to enjoy. The three little bunnies sat together and enjoyed the delicious vegetables. It was a happy day, proving that putting in effort makes a big difference. Binky had a very important day today. He decided that he wanted to wish all his forest friends good night. So he woke up early, determined to visit as many of them as he could before the sun went down. The wise old owl smiled at Binky when she heard him say good night. She hooted softly and wished him good luck on his adventure. The forest was big and Binky had a busy day ahead. As Binky wandered deeper into the woods, he stumbled upon Teddy the bear, who was hunting for his favorite treat, honey. Bees buzzed around their hive, not too pleased with Teddy's attempts to reach their treasure. Binky jumped closer, gave Teddy a warm hug, and whispered, "Good night, Teddy." Next, Binky spotted Zippy the squirrel sitting on a tree branch. Zippy's bushy tail twitched as she carefully collected acorns, storing them for the winter. Binky admired Zippy's hard work and how she always prepared for the colder days ahead. "Good night, Zippy," Binky said. "You've worked so hard. I hope you sleep well tonight." Suddenly, a tiny mouse appeared in front of Binky. With her soft gray fur and twitching whiskers, she looked up at him with curious eyes. Binky bent down close and gently said, "Good night, little mouse. Sleep tight, my new friend." As Binky was chatting with the mouse, he heard rustling in the bushes. He turned to see Foxy the fox watching them from a distance. Binky approached Foxy with a big smile and said, "Good night, Foxy. I hope you have the most wonderful dreams tonight." The wise old owl silently followed Binky through the forest, watching over him. As the day drifted toward evening, Binky came across Bran the badger. Bran had thick black and white fur and was busy digging in the soft earth. "Good night, Bran," Binky said warmly. "I hope you have a peaceful night." A rhythmic tapping sound echoed through the forest. It was a woodpecker, busy pecking at a tree. "Good night, woodpecker," Binky called out. "I hope you rest well after all that hard work." Among the trees, Binky noticed his shy friend Daisy the deer. She had big, gentle eyes full of curiosity. Binky explained that he was wishing all his forest friends good night personally. Daisy smiled softly, hearing about Binky's lovely idea. She agreed that the forest was full of animals who would love to hear sweet goodnight wishes. Suddenly, Riley the raccoon appeared, his eyes gleaming with mischief. Riley was always up to something, always curious, always playful. As Binky greeted him, another raccoon peeked out from behind a tree, joining the fun. "Good night, my friends," Binky said with a laugh. Following a small stream, Binky wandered further into the forest. The water shimmered under the blue sky, and the soft breeze carried the scent of pine and fresh earth. He soon came upon a family of ducks paddling around a small pond. "Good night, little ducks," Binky whispered, watching as they got ready to settle down and sleep. Not far away, a graceful heron stood in the water, perfectly still, his long legs reflected in the calm pond. The heron's feathers were sleek and silver with a touch of the blue sky in them. Binky wished him good night quietly. As the day slowly came to an end, the sky turned from bright blue to shades of pink and purple. The forest grew quieter as more animals settled down to sleep. Binky too felt sleepy. He found a cozy spot under an old tree deep in the forest. As he closed his eyes, Binky felt happy, knowing he had wished so many of his friends a good night. "Good night, my little friend," whispered the wise old owl from her branch above as Binky drifted off to sleep.